what else do you need besides a compass when you're going out?
It's a compass. We use a plotter. We use an auxiliary odometer. And that's about it. As soon as that green flag drops, it's just like you're in the zone. Like everything goes black and it's just like go time.
What's the most important skill to learn before going out into the desert?
You are more capable than you think you are.
Okay, Shelby Hall, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, we're happy to have you here. So tell us a little bit about your background. Your grandfather is rodhall, legendary off-road racer.
The legend, the man.
The man has won the Baja 1000 like 1,000 times. Tell us about your background.
Yeah. That was a great introduction of my grandfather. He was quite a badass. So, I grew up obviously in the dirt. My grandfather started racing when he was a very young man. He started on motorcycles and then quickly learned that 4 wheels and a cage got him a little bit further. And, he ended up being a legend, a pioneer. He set many records, and his career launched in the late 60s and spanned over 5 decades. He lived and breathed off-road. So, of course, that just trickles down. Mm-hmm. And my dad and my uncle are professional off-road racers and drivers. So, of course, that's how I grew up. I have heard stories of I was a young baby heading down to Baja in the back seat of a Ram Charger in a baby seat. And that was the beginnings of my life.
How was it growing up the granddaughter of a Hall of Famer?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. Of course, looking back now, I did not realize who my grandfather was to the industry. Mm-hmm. I did not realize how fortunate we were to spend our 9 to 5 working hours in the desert, mm-hmm. driving off-road trucks, exploring. But I look back at it now and I feel so incredibly fortunate that was how I grew up, playing in the dirt.
Hey, do you really think that cafe Wi-Fi is safe? Well, think again. Public Wi-Fi can be a hacker's playground. With the man-in-the-middle attack, cyber criminals set up fake networks like cafe-free Wi-Fi. Intercept everything you do online. They can do that. They can steal passwords, spy on your emails, and intercept the data you send and receive. The fix is something like NordVPN. Encrypt your internet traffic so hackers get nothing. Not your logins, not your banking info. Your emails are safe and not even those Fast and the Furious memes. So right now you can grab an exclusive NordVPN deal plus 4 extra months for free. Just head to nordvpn.com/racer and stay protected. It's risk-free and you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So stay safe, keep those hackers away, and sign up now. Back to the show. Yeah, and how did you, and when did you start driving, actually?
Well, I started driving when I was big enough to sit on my grandpa's lap, and he would work the pedals, and he would coach me how to drive. And that would have been the early 90s, and that was when my family had started working with AM General, and they helped actually transform the H1 Hummer that was used by the military into the Hummer that we all know today that became, the awesome 4-wheel drive vehicle. Yeah. So that was the first truck that I drove was an H1 Hummer.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Those things are pretty invincible.
And you started racing immediately?
So I started racing in 2011. The very first race that I participated in, I got to ride with my grandpa, and he coached me the whole time. He drove, I rode, and he just talked his way through that race, why he was making the decisions that he made, why he gave it a little more throttle, why there was steering input. And that was it. And then he threw me in the driver's seat. That's great. I started racing then in 2012. and raced along with the family team until 2019. And that's when I officially became a hired driver. And I started racing for other people's teams. And then I joined the Ford Performance Bronco R Baja 1000 effort in 2019. And it's been a whirlwind ever since.
Yeah. How has it been working with Ford?
It's been great.
Yeah.
There's been so many learning lessons, so many opportunities. I've had the chance to spend time with other legends beyond my grandfather that also compete on, with the Ford family that are just priceless memories, priceless teaching moments. It's been incredible.
Do you get to sort of meet some of the other Ford racers in other disciplines of racing?
We do. We're usually at events together, but everybody kind of has a role. So we don't get too much time to just sit and learn more about them, unfortunately.
I see. And now you have your own team, right? Your Shelby, what's it called? SHO or something?
Shelby Hall Offroad.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started Shelby Hall Offroad in 2021. And at the time, really what I wanted to do was create a platform for people to have an opportunity to learn how to off-road and go out and do what they learned. And so I offer workshops and off-road driving events. And of course, Shelby Hall Off-Road follows my racing journey. I compete in the annual Rebelle Rally, which is an 8-day navigational rally. And we introduced a UTV racer last year. And this month, we announced the addition of our Ford Bronco DR, which is our brand new race truck that we'll be desert racing with.
Congratulations. And
Thank you.
Where are you going to be racing?
Our very first race is the NORRA Mexican 1000 at the end of April.
That's going to be a big first race.
It's huge. Yeah. It's an incredible race. I've raced it several times. But this one will, be a little closer to home, being the fact that it's our own race team. And what's pretty unique about this race is it's really where my grandfather's career launched. He won the 1969 NORRA Mexican 1000 overall. And that year, he set a record of piloting the only four-wheel drive vehicle that's ever won overall. That's a record that still holds today.
Wow.
And he was driving a strap-built Bronco. And our Bronco DR proudly wears a strap-inspired livery. So we decided to, start this journey where it all started for my grandpa.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is your family involved in your racing activities still?
They are my biggest cheerleaders. My mom is definitely a part of our team. She is incredible of being the race mom. And my dad actually races with Chevy. So we all cross paths. We're all together and, we're all supporting each other.
That's awesome. On your Instagram, you say content creator, right? On your profile as well, and creator. What do you mean?
So I actually call myself an adventure creator, and by that, one thing that I love to do personally, my Zen time, my meditation is when I'm behind the wheel and I'm in the dirt and I get to just go as fast as I want. I get to go as slow as I want. I get to stop when I want. I get to be fully in control of my vehicle, taking in all of the awesomeness that the remote desert brings. It's quiet.
Yeah.
It's my little slice of heaven. And for me, I want to be able to share that with other people who maybe don't have the same skill set or the experience. I want to be able to teach them the skill set and offer them an opportunity to have that experience. So for me, I create off-road adventures. I put together 1-day, 2-day, 3-day off-road events. And people, sign up and come out with us, and we just go on an epic off-road adventure.
So what does that day look like? So you teach them how to use a compass basically and go go drive this direction. How does that happen?
Yeah, well, we have a few different options. We do host strictly navigational workshops, which of course those are based off of topography maps and compasses. And, there's a little more to learn that's kind of classroom setting, so to speak, of learning how to read that topography map, learning how to use your compass, learning how to use them together. But then I also teach people how to drive off-road, and how to best utilize the vehicle that they have.
Hey, thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, whichever platform you're on, and leave some comments. We actually read every one of them, and it's actually great for the algo. All right, back to the show. What's the most important skill to learn in one of your workshops before going out into the desert?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the most important thing to learn is you are more capable than you think you are.
Because regular racing, right? If you're going around the track, you don't need to know anything about topography. You don't even need to know which direction you're driving. You just need to know, the track.
Right.
And you can memorize a track.
Right.
But I think the biggest difference between off-road and, running on track is that you need to know which way you're going when you're going off-road, right? So can you be completely some people... I'm pretty good, but I can sort of navigate my way through cities, but I know some friends that have no sense of direction. Can you get somebody like that and put them in a truck and, take them from A to B?
Well, we do two different styles of navigation. So in off-road rally navigation, we use strictly map and compass. When we're desert racing, we get to use a GPS and we get to follow that track.
Good.
Which is, they're both really fun in their own rights. Obviously, navigating with map and compass is at a much slower pace because we're having to watch the topography lines and the roads on the map. Whereas with a GPS, the objective is to go as fast as you can go while staying on track.
Right.
So, we hosted a navigational workshop this weekend. We had quite a few people who didn't even know how a compass works or what you do. And by day 2, they were out navigating themselves with no support, just with a map and compass, and they were able to find all of their checkpoints. So the thing that's just really important to remember with navigational rally is that the saying, heading and distance never lie. So you just always need to know where north is and really have a good bearing on what the mountains around you look like. And then hopefully by being able to read that topography, always knowing where north is, you should be able to keep yourself in a relatively well-known area.
Okay. And what else do you need besides a compass when you're going out into the desert?
So when we're competing in the navigational rally, the tools that we use are very limited. But what we use is a compass, we use a plotter, we use an auxiliary odometer, and that's about it.
That's all?
That's all.
Okay.
Of course, for the vehicle, we have spare parts, we have tools, we have everything vehicularly that we would need to be successful. But to be able to navigate ourselves, that's what we use.
Nice. And so how do these workshops and classes happen? So you have a group of people that sign up and you have your sort of you and your team sort of teach and guide and lead the way. Is that how it happens?
That is. So we typically do about a half a day in the classroom so that we can learn the basics, get everybody up to speed. So the other aspect that we teach people is how to plot coordinates onto the map. So when we're teaching navigational rally skills, the way that the competition works is that we're given coordinates about 25 sets of coordinates. And then we have to put those coordinates onto the map, which is called plotting. And then from there, we route the way that we want to travel to reach each of these checkpoints. And then we have to navigate to them. So we first teach people what even is navigation, what even is topography. We got to get those basics down.
Right.
The why.
Yeah.
And then we can go into the how. So then we get to go out and have some fun out in the field, and we get to actually use all of those tools, the compass, the plotter, the map, and navigate to...
So does each team have a different route to get to those checkpoints?
In the competition? No. Yes and no. So they split us into 3 groups, Group A, Group B, and Group C. And you really don't know who's in what group. And they do that so that you don't follow each other.
Right.
Otherwise, everyone could just follow the lead car.
Yeah, exactly.
And what fun is that? So there are multiple different groups, and the checkpoints are in different orders. And of course, you have to get to each checkpoint in numerical order. So yeah, we're all given different checkpoints.
Okay, and is there like a winner? How do you win or lose?
Yep, the team at the end of the rally that has the most points is the winner.
Okay, so if you make it to these checkpoints in the shortest amount of time, you get more points? Is that how it works?
No, each checkpoint is scaled differently. There are 3 different levels of checkpoints. The simplest ones to get to are green checkpoints. They're manned. There's a big green sign.
Okay.
They're hard to miss. But then there's blue checkpoints, and that's like a 3-foot blue PVC pipe.
Oh.
And then there's black diamond checkpoints, and there's nothing there to let you know that you've made it. You just have to triangulate and ensure that you've made it. So each of those style of checkpoints are scored differently, and they're all scored within a bullseye style. So the closer you are to the radius of the bullseye, the more points you get.
I see. So, sorry, I'm a complete moron when it comes to this.
This is a unique style of competition.
Yeah.
The Rebelle Rally is the only rally of this style in the United States.
Oh, it is.
It
okay.
is.
And so, like, how do the judges, or there are judges, right? Or like, who's overseeing this to see if you actually made it onto that PVC?
So
piece?
2 ways. So we have trackers. Each vehicle is tracked so they can see us at all times.
Yeah.
And then we also have a tracking device, a sat phone, that we click a button on, and it drops a waypoint exactly where we click it. And that gives you your coordinates. And so the scoring team knows when we have clicked our tracker to say we think we've made it to where we think we're supposed to go.
I see.
And then they're able to judge the distance based off of that pin drop.
Nice. Okay, I'm starting to slowly understand this. And so you said that the Rebelle Rally is the only one of its kind.
It's the only one of its kind in the United States.
So where is this most popular outside of the United States then?
In Morocco. There is a rally that's similar. It's different in a lot of ways, but it's similar, called the Gazelle Rally, and that takes place in Morocco.
Nice. Okay. And why is it Morocco?
That's a great question. I don't know. What's pretty cool about it, though, is both rallies are women only.
Oh, okay.
Which is really cool for Morocco because, in so much of the world, women don't even have the ability to drive.
Yeah.
So to be able to go out and compete in the, in the giant sand dunes of Morocco is pretty incredible.
I was aware that the Rebelle Rally was only, a female thing, but even in Morocco too, that's interesting. And did it originate in Morocco?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. And so, but the NORRA 1000, obviously, that you were going to compete in, is obviously a completely different style of rally. So how is that different compared to the Rebelle Rally?
Yeah, the Rebelle Rally is a stage rally, which the NORRA Mexican 1000 is also a stage rally. And all that means is there's more than one stage day after day. So the NORRA Mexican 1000 is a 6-day off-road race. And And there are special stages and there are transits. We do have road books as well as a GPS. And the special stages are the fun stages. That's when we're out racing. And then the transit sections obviously are getting us from point A to point B on public roads like a highway.
Right.
But the biggest difference is one is an off-road race and one is an off-road rally. One of the other very big differences, the Rebelle Rally is created for stock vehicles. They have to be street legal.
Okay,
they cannot
that was my next question.
They can't be overly built. It's like 37 inches are the biggest tire allowed. You cannot have fuel cells. It has to be a street legal vehicle.
Okay.
Whereas the NORRA Mexican 1000, this is an off-road race. We have all tube chassis trucks.
Yep.
It is, full from limited trucks all the way to unlimited trophy trucks.
Yeah, the Rebelle Rally sounded really fun because I have a 4Runner.
You could do it.
I can do it, but I
you
can't.
Yeah, your 4Runner could do it.
I would have to get someone else to drive it for me.
Yes.
For the NORRA 1000, though, what vehicle are you entering it in?
We are racing the brand new Ford Bronco DR, which is a race truck that comes straight from the factory.
Oh, okay. Can you explain how different it is compared to the Bronco that we see driving out in the street?
Yeah. I mean, what's cool is it actually has a lot of similarities. It is based off of the Ford Raptor chassis. It has the same drivetrain. It does have the 10-speed transmission. Although the DR does have a little burlier motor, we do have the Coyote in it, so that thing is raring to go. It is so fun. It sounds so mean. It's just to sit in it and fire that thing up, you're like, oh yeah. But of course, it comes with 37-inch BF Goodrich KDR 3 race tires. And within the cockpit, it is fully a race truck. It has non-functional doors. Of course, we've got race seats. We have 5-point harnesses. Everything is built off of the Motec. So that is something that we use to analyze data. That's basically all of our gauges.
Yep.
So I mean, it's got some burlier like upper control arms.
Okay.
It does have a multimatic suspension, so that's a little bit different than your stock Bronco. But there's little Easter eggs on it that are kind of fun that really remind you that this truck is inspired by the Bronco lineup. Even like its taillights are the same as the Bronco that you see driving down the road.
So what class is this?
So this class will race in the heavy metal class.
Okay. And
it's a little bit of a unique truck in that if we get enough Bronco DRs out there racing, which would be awesome because it would make it a spec class, it would be able to have its own class. But right now, we're the first privateer team to be introducing this Bronco DR. So we will be racing against one other Bronco DR and a couple other full-size trucks.
Okay. So not other makes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Not all Fords.
Okay.
Yep.
And so is the heavy metal class that you're entering, is it sort of in between like the production and like the full-on trophy tube chassis class?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. What other like regulations are there for that class?
I mean, pretty across the board, a lot is safety. So, of course, we have to make sure that the window nets, the safety seat belts, fire extinguishers.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much. Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So obviously the NORRA 1000, it's not just all women. You're probably, although you're probably one of the few, fewer, right? Yes. But I feel like with all the things that you're doing, and I've seen a lot more women being involved in racing, and especially off-road racing as well. What's been, sort of like the biggest challenge that you've faced so far?
That's always a tough question for me because, I grew up doing this. I grew up with my family supporting me in this, my family being my teammates, my business affiliates. And my grandpa raised me no differently than he would have raised, or he didn't treat me any differently than he did a guy on the team. So I feel like a lot of times I actually just fit in. I fit in the way everyone else does. I sort of feel like some of the biggest hurdles for me are, as a female, I do feel like we are watched with a microscope, and maybe we make an error out on the track that's the same error that a male would make or made, but it's sort of amplified because it was a girl driving. That like, of course she would get a flat tire, or of course, fill in the blank. And that kind of sucks. Definitely makes you feel a little more like you really don't want to make a mistake, because it just gets a spotlight on it. But you got to just let it go. Like it just can't matter. We're doing this at the end of the day.
So there's a little bit of that pressure, but
a little
it's
bit.
not that much though.
Not that much. I really feel like in this era, I feel so lucky to be doing what I'm doing, because people want to integrate women into motorsports, and people want to shine a light on female empowerment. And I've been lucky enough to be here at the right time to be able to capitalize on that and be a part of this growth in our culture.
Do you have any like female drivers that you look up to or collaborate? Like, who are those?
Definitely. Emily Miller is one of my biggest mentors. She is the founder of the Rebelle Rally, and she actually got her start in desert racing with my grandfather. She joined the rodhall racing team way back in the day, and it was just really incredible to watch her grow and become this powerhouse of a woman. She no longer desert races. She still rallies, and she's just an incredible businesswoman. I definitely look up to Sarah Price. She is so kick-ass in everything she does. She's so determined, and she talks about her goals and her dreams, and she achieves them, and she is stellar out on the race course. Whenever you hear the guys say, all I want to do is at least beat Sarah, you know that she's good at what she does.
No, that's great. What are your goals and dreams?
Man, I'm living them right now. So my grandfather passed away in 2019, and him and I were incredibly close. And in the last months leading up to his passing, he had said to me, Shelby, how are we going to get you your own race truck? And of course, in the moment, I'm like, Papa, we'll worry about that at a later time. But I honestly never knew how I would make it happen without him. I felt like he was kind of my partner in crime. He was my mentor. He was everything. And when he was gone, I was fearful that dream would not come to reality. Racing is really tough. It's very expensive. It's insanely time consuming. It's your whole life. It's either nothing or it's your whole life. And I just kept working at it. I decided I wanted to start my business, and maybe I wasn't going to be able to race, but I'd be able to compete in the rally, and I'd be able to share my knowledge with others and enjoy myself in a low stress setting. And then that became popular, and that really started taking off. And then I thought, well, let's build out our UTV. We've got a UTV. Let's just do it. One new part at a time. As a part breaks, we'll replace it with something better. And that's what we did. We launched our UTV Racer last year and had a blast. I thought that was the cherry on top. I thought that was my racing career was happening with that UTV. And then we just kept chipping away. And, the next thing we knew, we had met a partner of our dreams in Liberty Firearms Institute. They were interested in starting a race team and going racing. And And they didn't know exactly what that looked like. And so we were a perfect fit to come together and partner to create this dream team. And I'm embracing the now. I am so excited. I mean, I just can't believe we're doing it. Like, part of me still feels like, I'm like, okay, don't wake me up. If this is a dream, don't wake me up yet, because I'm having so much fun. But I'm really trying to take a step back and look where I was even 3 years ago, and look at it now and see that we're doing the damn thing, and we are living the dream. We're living the dream that we created.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I mean,
Thank you.
It's really tough, right? For, you have to run when I interview people, or even race car drivers, the stuff that happens before you get in the car is mostly the toughest part, right?
Yes.
Like finding that, sponsor or that partner. How did you get through that? Like when you were doing, or was it just like day by day, just chipping away, or were you like really, really when you're, Liberty Firearms, is that when they showed up, what was your first reaction?
Well, you're right. What happens before you get in the race truck is the hardest part, and it's what takes the most time. You go to a race and it's 250 miles, so you're done in 6 hours. It's everything leading up to it that's so important. And so Liberty Firearms Institute is a really killer, well, maybe we can edit that part out, is a really awesome
It's fine. Killer is good.
indoor firing range out of Colorado. And one of the things that they love to do is they love to collect really amazing vehicles. And how we even met the folks over at Liberty Firearms Institute is because they have the world's largest strop Bronco collection, and it's a private collection.
Right.
I still have my grandfather's overall winning Bronco. That was gifted to me when he passed away. And so, of course, I have a pretty iconic Bronco that the collection would love to have. And so that was what sparked our relationship, was honestly an invitation to come and check out their strop collection, shoot some guns, and get to know them.
You had never visited them before when they had the largest? Okay.
Correct.
Well, okay. Well,
yeah. It's an amazing facility. It's huge. They have 100-yard indoor range, which is wild. Anyhow, and the strap collection is incredible. It is the most iconic strap Broncos out there, are all in one collection. And the more that we started spending time together, the more that we realized Wayne Schmeckley is the owner of both Liberty Firearms Institute and the Strap Collection. And the more time we started spending with Wayne, the more we just became great friends. We have a lot of the same interests and are able to show each other. He's teaching us about guns. We're teaching him about off-road. And he raced back in the day. He raced motorcycles. So he's got that fiery grit that a racer has. And, we just kind of sat around having coffee one morning and we're talking about racing. And the idea to start this race team just developed basically on a napkin.
Organically. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, right? Organically.
Yeah. And it just so happened that, it takes an incredible team to make this successful. And we feel that we have incredible people that are part of our team that is already making this a success, and we haven't even hit the dirt yet.
Yeah. No, that's great. What kind of marketing, unique or special marketing things are you doing with your partners?
So what I really love to do, and it's something that I learned through doing the Rebelle Rally, is that there is a lot of reach outside of just motorsports. The Rebelle Rally has had incredible coverage in publications like Forbes and Cosmopolitan, more lifestyle. And that lifestyle aspect is really where I sit. I kind of live in this interesting balance between racer and lifestylist. And for me, I want to be able to share what we're doing outside of just motorsports.
Yeah.
I want this to be an inspiration for other women, other women, other men who maybe don't know exactly what off-road racing is, but have this yearning for adventure. And I hope that we get to share that through our creativity in our social media posts. Of course, that's how we market a lot, is through social media, through Instagram, through YouTube. And, we just get to put our personal flair on it, and we get to sit around the table with our best friends and come up with ideas and then go out and do them.
How do you create, what's your inspiration usually to create like posts and, your Instagram images and video reels and, YouTube videos? What inspires you?
I love sharing what makes me happy. I love sharing the moments when other people are successful around me. And I feel like that's really the inspiration behind it, is sharing what we're accomplishing, and of course, with posts, that's more of like what we're accomplishing. And my stories is really the daily grind, the daily chip away at that big picture.
Yeah. Do you have a certain process that you follow for creating content?
Not really.
Yeah.
We kind of fly by the seat of our pants. Of course, with like big announcements, we have a timeline, we have a schedule. But when it comes to the daily, what we're up to, it's kind of living in the moment. Do
you usually shoot your own stuff, or do you have a crew?
Both.
Both?
Yeah. So I try not to get too produced. I mean, we definitely like to, everything that goes on YouTube is very produced. We have an incredible creative team. And we have a resident photographer that comes to most of our events that captures everything. But I mean, we do a lot of cell phone work. I mean, iPhones are incredible these days. But yeah, sometimes I capture my own content. I do have a team that I work with, because social media is a full-time job all on its own. And that was becoming extremely overwhelming to me. And I've had someone helping me manage my social media for about a year now.
It does get overwhelming.
She is my savior. I tell her every day I love her, and I can't wait until the day I can just pay her more, because she is amazing and has taken such a huge load off. I definitely am the only one that goes in and responds. Any sort of interacting comes directly from me. That's important to me. I want to know who my followers are. I want to know what they're thinking and what they're up to, and answer the questions they have. But Lindsay helps me make sure that posts get out the door.
I mean, social media is a, business on its own, right?
It is, yes.
Let's talk a little bit about social media, because it's really, really important for actually anyone out there, any business person. Social media is just so important. Which creators are inspiring you right now?
That is a great question. I have to be honest. I feel like this last month, I have barely been on social. We have been so incredibly busy. We just opened a new shop. We just made our big announcement. I mean, I have been on as minimally as possible.
Who do you follow?
But I mean, so again, I love Sarah Price. I love her on social media. I love her in real life. I feel like her social media is incredibly engaging. Her stories, you feel like you're hanging out with Sarah, and her posts are really well done. I feel like she has found an incredible way to capture what she's doing, and also be able to highlight her sponsors in a very organic way, which is huge for me.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to sound like a billboard, or that I was given a check just to say, I love this brand. Yeah. It has to be authentic. Yeah. It has to be something that you really use, and you use it for a reason, because it works really well.
Yeah.
So that authenticity is really important to me.
Yeah. Authenticity is super important, and sounding organic or being authentic is really important. Do you think that's do you think you're born with that? Because some people are really great at doing that. Like no matter what they say, it's like, okay, I'm buying, I'm going to click right away. Some people just sound fake no matter what they're saying, even if they're using it, right? Do you think that's something that you can learn?
I do think it's something you can learn. Yes. And it's just being more knowledgeable about your topic. Anytime you're talking about something that you're passionate about, something that you know about, it rolls off the tongue. You're eager to share that information. If it's something that you aren't really sure about, or a product you haven't used yet, or a product that you used and you didn't like, it shows.
Yeah, it does show. The camera doesn't lie.
The camera doesn't lie.
Whoever said that's a genius. Yeah. If you could collaborate with any creator, who would it be, and what would you do?
Wow.
It can be anyone. It doesn't even have to be off-road. Like you had anyone you could collaborate with.
I would love to collaborate with Patty Mack. Patty Mack is an insane drone pilot, and I love watching all his videos. I have been able to work with him on a couple projects, but I would love for him to collaborate with me.
Patty Mack.
Patty Mack, you're the man. He is insane. He is incredible. He just thinking of his drone work now, and you're flying with him.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I think I've heard of. I think I know that account. What's one underrated creator more people should follow?
Shelby Hall Offroad. Am I allowed to plug myself on that one?
You are, and that was quite authentic too. How about so you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're obviously all the major ones, but what's your favorite platform to engage with your fans?
Instagram.
Yeah. Why is that?
I'm on TikTok. I don't feel the flow of TikTok. And I'm not exactly sure why. It might be my age. I'm more of like a Instagram. That's what I've used the most. I love stills. To be honest, I don't really watch reels. I feel like during the day, I don't have time to sit and watch something that's even 30 seconds long. So I really love stills. Yeah. And I like to read people's captions, and I hope that it's like a heartfelt caption. But yeah, I really like Instagram. I like the stories. I like seeing what people are doing in the moment. And I think it's a great platform for selling. I know I kind of scroll and end up sometimes buying things off of Instagram myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a really cool way for people to be themselves. That's what social media has allowed us to do, is to have a business that totally reflects ourselves. Yeah. And our uniqueness is what makes us successful. Whereas I think, in past generations, we were really raised to be like the person next to us. Everybody go to college, get that degree, be a homemaker. Like there's just all these kind of rules, and those rules have kind of dissipated. And now we are congratulated for being our authentic selves.
Yeah. Do you like short form or long form content?
Both. So my YouTube is both long form and short form. 2 years ago, we decided to make a show about our rally, the Rebelle Rally. There is no outside media allowed. And so we decided we wanted to capture it ourselves. And so I started working with our resident videographer, Nathan Miller, who is amazing also. And I wrote my first show. I wrote the whole thing out and filmed the whole thing while we were rallying, and he edited it, and I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with creating this vision in my mind, putting it on paper, and then filming it, like making it happen behind the scenes, and then seeing that final edit. It was just magical. And so we made our second season in 2024, and we'll be doing something very similar for our DR race program.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's really rewarding, isn't it?
It is.
When you write something down, you write a script or an outline or whatever, and it becomes, something that everyone can share and watch. Yeah.
And it's been incredible to watch the reactions of people watching it. And something that I have I mean, it used to really weigh heavy on me of like, how many followers do you have? How many views did this get? How many likes? And, the numbers started becoming ridiculous, like, 1 million views. What if your piece only has 800 views? Is that bad? It's not. That's 800 people. That's filling an auditorium that's watching this thing that you created.
Right.
That is amazing. And we are pretty niche in what we do with the Rebelle Rally. But this show that we've created, we surround ourselves with other ralliers, and they are like, we watched your show every single episode twice. We fell in love with it. We learned so much from it. And that's awesome.
So how many episodes are in this season?
This season of 2024 is 8 episodes.
Okay. And how long are each videos?
They're about 10 to 20 minutes long.
Okay, nice. Yeah. That's a show.
Yeah.
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 That's a show. And
you should definitely check it out.
And you can watch it on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. And you have shorts on YouTube as well?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Great.
Yep.
What was it hard, shooting and driving at the same time or yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so season 1, poor Nathan had so much content that he had to sift through to make the show. Season 2, he was like, we don't really have a lot of content. I'm like, all right, we will get creative. So season 3 is going to be the perfect mashup of really learning so much from those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, it adds an element to have to remember to, rotate the GoPros, do our nightly interviews, recap what happened for the day, make sure everything's charged, make sure, all the settings are set. But, it's an 8-day rally, so by day 2 you kind of figure out the flow.
So Nathan comes along.
He doesn't.
No. So he just grabs you give him all the assets, the videos.
Yes, after the rally.
After the rally, okay.
Yeah, the Rebelle Rally is very isolated.
Okay.
There are nobody outside the participants are allowed, so there's nobody watching it.
I see.
The media that is there is only rally media.
Okay.
So you can't have your own media crew.
Okay. Okay.
So you have to create all your own content.
You have to shoot it yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have GoPros going, you're
Yes.
just kind of shooting, and then when you have the time, right?
Yep, we have GoPros up on the truck. This last year we used a 360, which was awesome. And then we also use a handheld little pocket Osmo to walk around base camps, and we do we call them a nightly tent talk,
Right.
which is where we recap the day,
Right.
the highs, the lows, whatever crazy thing happened that day. It's like our little diary.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. What's the hardest part about that though? Because you got to do both, right? You got to finish the race actually.
Yes.
And you have to shoot too.
I mean, so the competition takes priority, of course. The hardest part is making sure that I have captured enough for the day that's going to tell the whole story, which thankfully it's all kind of in my brain. And I know, okay, we captured first thing in the morning. We've got some talking head bits. Now we need some driving shots. So it's just kind of making sure that each day I capture enough to tell the story.
And does Nathan do interviews afterwards to sort of
Yes.
tell the story?
Yes.
Drive the story?
So he's with us at the beginning of the rally before the actual rally starts. So we have a lot of awesome photography from him and videography, interviews. And then after he does the initial edit, sends it to me, I review it, then I'll write the script for any voiceover that we need. My teammate has a mic at home, and so I'll send her just some bullet point questions, and then we submit the voiceover to him. And then, of course, then we get the revised edit. I look through it, and I do tend to remember a lot of what I have recorded, so I can say, ooh, I think on this day we had some really cool footage from the dunes, and then he can go back through and find that and insert it.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
But it's a process.
Yeah, no, it is.
So we actually just posted our last video last week, maybe. I don't even know what day it is, feels like. And the rally ended in October. So, it took us 5 months basically to roll out the whole season.
Yeah. And so how are you releasing it on YouTube? Is it like a weekly release?
Every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday? Cool.
Yeah. It's been an incredible way to relive our rally. When you're in the midst of competition, you are living in the moment. And as soon as the moment goes by, it's gone because you're focused on that next moment, that next mark that you have to hit. And it's really cool to be able to go back and relive those memories that I'm not sure I would have remembered because it was just like a blip in time that has been really special for me. Yeah. And I mean, we laugh, we cry, we feel like these long form shows are really unique and special in telling our story. Are
you going to be shooting during the 1000 as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that process pretty much the same or is it a little bit different?
No, that'll be different. We'll have our whole media team, which is bigger than our mechanics team. But we have a stellar lineup. We have our lead creative director, Nick Hanlon. We have Amanda Bolin, who's our photographer. We have Lindsay Geyser. She's in charge of our social media. And Nathan Miller is our cinematic drone flyer.
Cool.
Is that the technical term? Drone pilot.
Drone pilot, yeah. And so this will be another series on your YouTube channel?
It will be, yes. Yeah, so we have put out several pieces on Instagram. And that was how we led up to our big announcement, which we announced the new team at the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America induction in Daytona, which was pretty incredible.
I think I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah, so we have some pretty killer pieces that came out leading up to it. And then, of course, the big finale. So going forward now that the secret is out of the bag, now we get to share the whole process. Like I said, we just moved into a new shop, our very first race shop.
Where is this shop?
In Huntington Beach.
Okay, cool. Right down the street from where we are now.
Right down at 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like our very first Shelby Hall Offroad headquarters and race shop. And, and now we get to share all that and really... And I want to share that. Although all of us have a lot of experience in motorsports, for all of us, this is our first team together. And there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be successes. This is a pivotal moment in life for all of us. And I'm really stoked to be able to share that.
Yeah, no, that's great. So the shop in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
So what's going on at the shop? Are you like building, maintaining your race, truck? Are you, customers can bring their cars in as well? Like what's going on at the shop?
So we are not taking any customers yet. We're going to get through our first race and then we'll see how the schedule looks. But right now we're getting everything ready for our own team. So of course that includes chase trucks, trailers, the race truck. We are getting everything outfitted and ready for the race. So we have a beautiful new Ford pickup. That's our chase truck. It needs a lift. It needs new wheels and tires. We've got to outfit it with Starlink, navigation gear, get that thing ready. Same thing with the race truck. Although it comes from the factory, quote unquote, race ready, it is not. It's not to our team. Someone might take delivery of one and be like, cool, let's go race it. To us, there's so many fine details that have to be taken care of before that thing reaches the start line. And so that's what our team will do is take care of all of those very fine prep details so that truck doesn't need to be worked on during the race.
Yeah. Well, you have to set it up for you, right? So because it comes basically factory, but you have to set it up for you. Do you have opportunities to go test it a lot?
We do. Yeah. So thankfully we have gone out once so far to get a really good baseline. Once we took delivery of the truck, we wanted to see how it handled as it came, to see what we need to tune. And now we're really working on the ergonomics. I'm 5'2" and nothing fits me the way that it comes. We have to do a lot of modifying so that I can see over the hood and be close enough. But also, I'm not the only driver. My partner, Brady Moline, is also driving and navigating. And so we have to make sure that the truck will fit both of us in both seats. We will be swapping for each other.
Who's making the seats for you guys?
So we actually just picked up the new seats yesterday, and we've got beautiful Cobra seats.
Okay, great, yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked about like Starlink and things like that a little bit. Like what kind of like new tech are you installing for this race?
This part is so crazy to me and so fun. So, I mean, a little bit of a tangent on the question, but my family, very old school. When I was growing up racing with them, they always raced a production class. So we never had the like fancy new technology. And I always would watch those unlimited trophy truck drivers and I would think, wow, they have such beautiful setups. They have all the cool new stuff. Yeah. And here we are, and we're doing that with our team now, which is, again, a total dream come true. But technology has come so far. It's crazy how we can track off-road racing now. And one of the things that we are adding to all of our vehicles, including our race truck, is a Starlink. And with that Starlink, we can stream live from inside the race truck, which is stellar. There's so many times in a race, we are way out in the Never Never Land. Nobody can see us. There's no spectators. And, back in the day, you just saw the truck fly by for an instant and then you didn't see it again for another 5 hours. Yeah. And now you get to watch everything that's happening in the cockpit. We can have a backward facing camera to see what's happening behind us, all around us. Yeah. So we're definitely, we're going to have that.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. You can stream everything and people, what's the speed like? Do you know like what kind of speed you get? Like uphill, going up and down?
Yeah, I mean, it varies because of terrain. Right. If we're on a lake bed, we're going to be hitting 115, 120. But there's areas when we're going through big old boulders and we're going 5. Right. So, for us, I would say we will probably average somewhere around 40 miles an hour.
Oh, no, I was talking about like internet speed.
Oh, internet speed.
Yeah, like with Starlink, I was like, oh, wow, it's like 5 megabits per second. That's,
Okay, now I don't know. That's way over my head.
Yeah, because I've never used I've never used Starlink, but I've had friends like, in the middle of the ocean that's, streaming, football games, right?
Yes.
So they can watch, playoffs in, the Caribbean, for example.
So it's not always, I don't know the exact streaming speeds. What I do know is that, there's times when it cuts in and out. It's not just like this perfect, like you're watching TV at home.
Well, because you're moving too,
Because you're moving.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you can follow along beautifully and it's very engaging. Right. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, that's great. So fans will be able to follow you through your YouTube channel? Are you like live streaming?
Yes.
Wow, okay. That'll be fun. Yeah. What other like off-road tech though are you excited about on your new race truck?
This truck doesn't have a ton of new technology. This truck is pretty like your old school style truck. So I don't think, I feel like the additions that we're doing with the technology side of like the internet is kind of what we're bringing to it. It is pretty cool that we have the Motec. That is not something that I have had in previous race vehicles. That gives us a ton of data to analyze so that we can always know what's going on with the truck. We can reference that data after the race to be able to figure out if something went wrong. We can have more information to try and get to the root of it. So that's really fun for me. But yeah, we don't have a ton of new technology in it.
What else do you need to take on, what else is in your truck? So you have your Starlink, you have your seat, but you have safety equipment. Do you bring anything else? You have a co-driver, right?
We have a co-driver. We definitely have a co-driver.
And so what else You bring in food, change of clothes.
So it does have a GPS, so that's pretty nice. We're sticking with kind of the older. It's not an old GPS, but they have come out with some newer technology GPS. We're sticking with the original Lowrance. I think it's great for racing. We definitely bring snacks. Snacks are very important, especially if you end up having to be on the side of the road.
Yeah.
You definitely want to make sure you have food and water. But it's just like power bars, stuff that's easy to eat. We do keep tools in the truck, of course. We will have some spare parts with us, and we'll have 2 spare tires. That's about it.
Yeah. How much water do you bring?
We have Camelbacks,
Right.
So we just fill those up.
And so you can drink while you're driving. Yeah.
Of course, we have to stop along the way for fuel. So when we stop for fuel, usually we get like a half a sandwich that we can eat real fast or fill up the
I see.
the Camelbacks.
Yeah. Do you have any like special like? Are you superstitious? Like, do you like wear certain things or like eat certain things before a race? Or
I'm not really superstitious. When it comes to eating, I try and eat pretty bland food: bananas, peanut butter and jelly, oatmeal.
No burritos.
No burritos. Not a lot of hot sauce. Not a lot of dairy. Try and keep it pretty chill
You're in Mexico,
my tummy.
Though.
We wait till after the race.
Yeah. All right. No, that's good. Okay. So no special rituals before
I
the
don't.
race? No. Okay.
No.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
I sit, because you always have to wait at the start line. Staging is always like an hour before the race. And I'm always like so nervous every start of the race. I'm like, okay, all right, here we go. But then you sit there for 20 minutes and you're like, all right, well, the nerves are kind of gone now.
Yeah.
And then you start creeping up to the line and I get so excited and nervous. And then as soon as that green flag drops, it's just like you're in the zone. Like everything goes black and you're in your peripheral and it's just like go time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, some people like take little cat naps.
They do.
Right?
My grandfather was the king of them.
Oh, okay.
The king. I have had so many journalists tell me that they would walk up and down that start line and he would always be sitting there just perfectly peacefully taking a nap.
You haven't taken a nap yet?
Not yet.
Yeah. Maybe you'll get there one day when you...
Yes. When I'm really seasoned.
Yeah. When it's like a, walk in the park, right?
Yeah.
If you could take any car, past or present, to the 1000, what would it be?
I would absolutely love to drive a trophy truck. No doubt.
Okay. So that's your dream.
That is my dream.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
That's the next goal.
Right. Okay. So, there you go. So what is next for you, for your shop? I mean, you've got the NORRA 1000 coming up, but what's next for you?
Yeah. This year is all about building the foundation. Building the new foundation, I should say. We had a pretty stellar foundation before, but moving forward, we only have the NORRA 1000 scheduled to race this year. We wanted to be able to take all the information that we learned from it, come back to the table, and then be able to make our next race plan.
Yeah.
But 2026 is going to be a heavy hitting year for us, where we are going to really take on some off-road races.
Okay, you're already planning for 2026 already?
Yep, already planning for it. And what's next for us is we are moving on up a little bit. We're moving out of state. We're taking the business to Nevada. And we're building a new facility.
Wow. Okay. You just opened up in Huntington Beach.
So we've just got a small shop here in Huntington that will get us through for that next step. And this year is, like I said, really setting that foundation for 2026 to launch off of. Racing is what we want to do. It's what we love, and we want to do more of it.
Which other races are you considering?
That is to be determined, but definitely some stateside racing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good. You were mentioning earlier before we started recording about some of the changes happening in media and off-road and things like that. What are your thoughts on that and like the expansion of like off-road getting a little bit more attention in media?
I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's something that we need. It's something that people want, and it's something that we deserve. A lot of effort goes into racing, and a lot of effort goes into desert racing. It's not easy to put a desert race on. You have to get permits, you have to have insurance, and both of those things are shockingly expensive. And I really, really applaud the off-road racing organizers for what they do, because it's a lot of work. But what we need to do to help support them is bring more media to it. That's how more sponsors want to be involved. That's how more racers want to be involved. And the only way that we can elevate that is by shining a brighter light on what we do. And that's happening. It's starting to happen with SCORE, with NORRA. There's a lot more rules now around media, and there is a heftier fee to be able to utilize that media. It sucks in the moment, and people don't want to do it, but it's the only way that there will be more respect for what we do, and we will be be on the stage and in front of the people that we want to be in front of. Being on ESPN, being on CBS Sports, that's a big deal. That's where we are going to reach people who aren't already intertwined with off-road racing. Yeah. And that's how you grow the sport, is by bringing in people who aren't already here.
Yeah. You think there should be a drive to survive for off-road racing?
I think there should. That is a great idea.
You heard it first.
You heard it first.
Creative drive. That's what I thought of, listening to what you were saying is like, okay, the races are important, right? But, what put, Formula One to a different level of popularity here in the U.S. is without a doubt, Drive to Survive.
Absolutely. Right? I mean, I watched it and fell in love with it because of the show.
Yeah. And you don't even have to be a motorsport fan to enjoy that show.
No.
Yeah.
No. And what I found so interesting about it, and I think it would be really cool to have a Drive to Survive in off-road, is, what people see on social is the glamorous side. It's the cool truck flying through the air. It's the rooster tail. It's the loud motor. But what people don't see are the countless hours that go into it. We miss, and I'm sure it's like this across the board, but, we miss birthdays, we miss holidays, we miss a lot because we've made a commitment to go racing. And that commitment takes all of our time, all of our brain capacity. It takes everything. And that 6-hour race is what we do it for. We're crazy. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder I am crazy. I'm like, whose idea was it to do this? Oh, it was mine. But to me, I think that seeing that side of it will change people's perspective, and it will make people more interested in the successes. Yeah. And, we'll have a better understanding of what we're doing out there. Yeah.
There's something about human beings wanting to watch people that are doing things that they're passionate about, right? That's why you're so attracted to certain shows, or certain, creators or influencers, because they're passionate about what they're doing. Yeah. So, people get drawn to that. Yeah. Right. We ask, lastly, thanks for your time. This has been super informative and interesting. We ask all our guests, what is your creative drive?
My creative drive is to be the woman that I looked up to when I was a little girl. And, I grew up without a very strong female role model, and I didn't know exactly where my path would go. And, the older I got, the more I figured out that I get to pave my own path, whatever that looks like. And whatever I stick my mind to, I can do it. And my creative drive is to be proud of myself, be confident, and surround myself with people who are the same, who are awesome and creative and happy, and all of that equals success.
Awesome. Well, Shelby Hall, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for coming to the Creative Drive podcast.
Thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Awesome. Thanks for watching and listening to The Creative Drive, where we offer listeners a candid look into the minds of automotive creators and their journeys. The Creative Drive is available on all podcast platforms, and we have more awesome guests lined up for you guys, so please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. If you're interested in partnering with us, or if you have any feedback, please email us at podcast@racer.com or DM us in our Instagram. The Creative Drive is produced by Molly Binks from Racer Studio, directed by TJ Keon, creative director George Tamayo, and edited by Andrew Snyder. We've got new Nick, OG Nick, and Morgan on the socials. I'm your host, Taro Koki. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you next time.